Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our workshop on getting WBE certified. So we have three speakers today. We have Denise Hernandez, Wendy Klepchak, and Courtney Terry, who all are going to talk about different aspects of this whole thing. So we're going to start with Denise. Everybody right now is muted. And if you have a question, though, feel free to unmute and just ask it. We can be casual.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Denise Hernandez. I'm with Owners Advocate Network, and I am a researcher, I'm a project manager, a realtor, and I volunteer to help just as a liaison between the different offices that provide free services for business owners. Today, we're talking about becoming certified as a woman business enterprise. That's through your state. There's programs also through the city as well. A lot of this information as well, I just want to preference, though, our main focus is on women business enterprise. A lot of the same requirements are also available for minority business enterprise, for veteran-owned businesses, and veteran-friendly businesses now is a new designation for businesses that have 10% of their employees are veterans. So there are a lot of different certification processes that are available. And we're just going to talk today about just kind of where to get started, how to get started, and the different offices, different resources that exist for it. When you are ready to get started as becoming a woman-owned business enterprise, they do require typically that you have been in business for 1 year. So I always like to start the conversation very early, as soon as someone is establishing their business, so that if it is in your goal, even if you're a year away from being able to be eligible for that certification, to work with your business coach and to put it into your plan so that you know that eventually your goal will be to access this certification level, because there's different benefits involved for it. So I did have a little strategy map we were gonna share, but we can also email it out to everyone afterwards, just as a quick little way to reference. There are different benefits. One of the benefits is that you will have the ability to reduce the cost of business. Your productivity will grow, and you'll have more financial stability with your business if you become a certified business owner. There are also referral opportunities, matching services through the state, community impact. You have the ability to be connected with other businesses that need your services, or vice versa, you need their services as well, so that you're able to help keep the money, keep it local, keep it, maybe employ people that are otherwise working further away for your company. There's a lot of things that being certified will open up doors and access for you to be able to do. We can go to the next page if you guys don't mind, the strategy map for the suggested resources. And you'll see it just kind of lays out some of the main benefits: financial, customers, your internal processes. You can improve your cost controls, because one of the benefits of becoming certified will be that you'll have access to government suppliers. You'll have access to the same pricing. You can get access to the same pricing that NASA gets for their toilet paper, their tissues, their paper, a number of different things. You can get better pricing, but you also can then sell your products to other businesses. If you have a service or a product that you provide that other businesses who are also certified through the federal or the state government need, there is a supplier portal that you would have access to. And also project management assistance from either your local Minority Business Assistance Center, ECDI, Aviator Accelerators. There's African American Chamber of Commerce, the Urban League of Cincinnati, SCORE mentors, and the Small Business Administration, or SBA.gov. You can get directed to any local resources in your area. And most of the time when you get registered as a free client, you can have access to their free services, including assistance becoming certified as a woman business enterprise. So we'll go to the next page. It actually lays out a little bit more of the different opportunities and different benefits of becoming certified. You can have grant matching, a state bidding portal, the ECDI, MBAC, SBD, this Northern Kentucky Small Business Development Center, Aviatra. They all have different options for businesses that have not yet been certified for funding. So while there are other funding sources, they tend to be around anywhere between 5 and 9.5% interest rate. You may have to pay 5% closing costs. However, if you are a certified business, you can have access to microloans up to $90,000 at 0% interest for 5 years, or 1.5% up to $500,000. That also includes working capital for payroll, marketing, software development, signage for your building, your lease improvements, commercial real estate purchases. So there's a lot of different doors that open up where you can have more affordable financing or funding available to you as a business. If we can go to the next one, to the next slide, is a little bit more about the benefits of becoming a certified business. Risk reduction. You can make a plan to become certified with the help of a local professional that's trained to help navigate the process. So I know Ohio, Kentucky, each state has people that are employed through the state development office, Department of Development, or the local small business development center, who are trained in compliance, who can help you with all the processes. I think Wendy will probably be talking a little bit more about that later, but you have access to all this free if you get registered and you reach out and ask for help. They will help you with everything from your business plan to your website and your social media presence. So you can also avoid redundancy. If you get registered and get assistance becoming certified, even before you're eligible, you can write that into your business plan so that you're planning ahead. You're being very strategic in how you plan your budgets for your business. And also you can offset the cost of your startup through other grants or 0% interest programs that you would later on be eligible for. If you do get into higher interest rate loans or anything like that in the startup process, you can at least plan into your goal knowing that once you are certified, you have access to these other programs that can take anywhere from 75 days to 4 to 6 months for you to get approved. So again, with careful planning and strategic planning, there's lots of benefits to becoming certified as a woman business enterprise, even if you're not planning on doing government contracting. And I think that's what holds a lot of people back, is they think that you have to just do government contracting. There are lots of opportunities for government contracting for everything from meeting space to catering a lunch or just having a facility to host a meeting or voting. So there's a lot of different opportunities that you would not normally think are related to government contracting that you can bring almost any business from any industry and find opportunities to make money and have a set aside from the local government that guarantees you the ability to compete for those contracts.
Plus,
That's
Denise,
where
I also think that a lot of large companies in the area, like St. Elizabeth and some of the universities and stuff, they have maybe not mandates, like maybe not the set asides, but they have goals for working with women-owned and minority-owned and veteran-owned businesses. So that gives you a leg up also with them. Am I correct about that?
Yes, exactly. Actually, yes. And the state has about a 15% set aside. So they have 15% of their funds that they set aside that have to be matched for government contracting or for opportunities for women business or minority business, or disadvantaged business is another, disadvantaged business enterprise is another certification level. And you can be certified on different levels as well. So yes, a lot of companies are looking for diversity, equity, and inclusion opportunities to work with other diverse companies, but also to give their employees access to those companies. So think bigger, that even if you can't help that company directly, you may have a service or a product that can help their employees. So there are a lot of opportunities as a certified business enterprise to get your foot in the door, to grow your business, to make more money. And it's not a fast process, but it's worth it. And if you start planning from the very beginning of your business, then by the time you're your first year in, you're going to be better off to have success and to be set up for making a profit versus just paying out expenses. And one of the major benefits of becoming a certified business is that you have access to information and access to funding, to grants, and to opportunities to gain business that other people do not have access to because they have not went through the process to be vetted as a minority or a woman business enterprise. So if you do go through this process, it gives you access to information you may not otherwise know about, or you may not have otherwise have access to know about that for yet, other than being on an email list or a newsletter, or having someone that is assigned by the state that keeps you up to date on what's going on free trainings, free programs, grants that are out there. The city of Cincinnati just had a grant that closed last month that was $20,000 towards the commercial tenant space for commercial leases. And I know that Northern Kentucky, I believe if they still have it going on, it's 1 year. So there's a lot of different programs like that that you may not know about if you're not tapped in with someone like Aviatra or ECDI or the Minority Business Assistance Center. But I recommend everyone get registered at all locations. Even if you're in Kentucky, I'm in Ohio, but I still go to the Aviatra workshops and their events. Obviously, I'm here today. I love working with them. And there's a lot of business that I still do going across the border with Kentucky. Because I am certified as EDGE, Minority Business Enterprise, and Woman Business Enterprise, that is actually considered, I'm exporting because I'm doing business with another state. And so there are other opportunities for me as I continue to grow to have grants or funding in opportunities for exporting. So those are part of my growth for the future. And that just gives people some ideas of some of the things that you can do and just helps you open up the door of why do I want to take the time? It is a lot of paperwork. That's mostly what it is. If you go to the websites that like mbaccincy.com is a great just one-stop shop. You can go to, that's for Cincinnati or for Ohio certification. They will help you get registered. They'll help you start the process. Even if you're not ready yet, they'll make sure you have the templates and everything that you need to get started. So couple last things, couple last slides I had is just some success keys. One of the main things that I do for businesses is I help just kind of keep you encouraged and keep you reminded and remind you that sometimes you might have to call back or you might have to reschedule, you might have to send in a follow-up, but advocate for yourself. And if you need help advocating, there are people at every state, every county has a local business development center. My organization, I have different people that help me as well. And I lean on the ECDI and the MBAC and Aviatra and their resources as well, so that to help me help others as well. So just some success keys to remind anyone who's going through certification, because it can be a very nerve-wracking and stressful process if you allow it. So I just try to remind everyone, stay positive, don't get frustrated, persist. If you are asked for more information, just give them more information back. Ask your business coach, hey, what do I need to do to change this so that it's in an acceptable format? And once you get through that, so if you have already been in business for 1 year, you could start the process tomorrow. You could start the process today, or however quickly you can get started with the business coach. I believe it's usually about a 2-week turnaround time, but you can go onto the website and just book with whoever's Calendly directly and find out how quickly they can help you get started. And my last slide is just if you have any questions, if anyone would like to, oh, sorry, actually, these are the different suggested resources. ECDI has the Women's Business Center. They have a food court for restaurant related or food truck related businesses. And the Minority Contractor Resource Center, even if you're a male and you have a minority, you're a minority contractor, you're an electrician or you're a plumber and you provide services for home or commercial, if you go through their center, they'll help you learn about estimating. They'll help you go through the process so that you become eligible to become approved as a certified business. Same thing with the Northern Kentucky Small Business Development Center and Cincinnati, my Minority Business Assistant Center and African American Chamber. They're in the same office. So they have a lot of the same resource partners. However, they have different funding, different staff, different programs. So I recommend checking with everybody, Aviator Accelerators and Save Our Veterans. Save Our Veterans is a nonprofit. They help do staffing for veterans, and they help people who are, if you're a veteran and you want to start a business, they will help you connect with other businesses or people that are providing donations or assistance for people that are a veteran and want to get started in business. So there's a lot of resources out there, and I'll be happy to answer any questions or help anyone. I know Jill and Danielle at the Minority Business Assistance Center, ESA at ECDI. There's a lot of different people. And if you'd like to take a screenshot, this is my contact information. If you have any questions or you just want to join the free networking, and I'll go ahead and let Wendy take over and talk a little bit more about everything that's needed to become certified. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. I'm going to stop sharing this now. Thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions for Denise before we switch to Wendy? Okay. Looks like you covered everything, my friend. Thank you.
Well, I'm going to do some fun little housekeepings. Emily, I have a couple of Emily's signed up on for this webinar, and I was wondering, Emily, could you please share your last name with us just momentarily so I can get us logged in? Or put it in the chat, that would be perfectly fine.
Oh, yes, we'll do. Emily Turlow, T.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you again so much, Denise. Tons of great information. We will, if with your permission, we'll send out the slides to everybody who registered. So thank you.
Thank you.
Wendy, so
Okay.
tell me, do you have slides or do you want to?
I don't. Yeah,
Okay.
I apologize. It's been we have two people on vacation this week, so
There's no need to apologize. It's just talking, right? We're just
that's what
we
I
want to
figured.
learn from you. That's the main thing. So
Yeah,
thank you.
and I I just was going to go through our experience and some of the resources that we have. But yeah, we went through the process. My business partner Sarah and I back in 2020.
Talk a little bit about what you do too, please.
Oh, yeah. So we're an architecture firm here in Cincinnati, and we've partnered up in 2016. So we had been in business for 4 years, and we're a small firm. I think there's 6 or 7 of us now, if you count contractors. And oddly enough, our whole staff is female as well, though that doesn't really get you anything for this. But yeah, we're a little unique in the architecture field for having so many women architects on our staff. So we made the decision to do the WBE and WOSB in 2020, partly because we felt like it could be something that could help grow our business, and partly because it was 2020. So what else are you going to do, right?
What does WOSB stand for?
It's a let's see, women-owned
small business.
Small
probably.
business.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to think about that for a second. So we basically slated 2 whole days. That's all we were going to do. So we took everything off our plate and really focused on going through the list. And if you go to the WBE org, all of the resources there are, everything that you need is located there. So we didn't really use anybody to help us. We just sort of dove in. We had a few colleagues that had gone through the process, and I mean, the biggest thing that everybody says is it's just getting through the paperwork. So with that said, there is a lot of financial information that you do have to provide in order to basically what they're trying to do is just prove that you're a business and that you are indeed female owned. I got the impression that maybe people might have been taking advantage. So you do have to provide quite a bit of information. So it's not just like, oh, your husband has a business and you own 51%. And now, you know, you can kind of get this. They're really trying to avoid that. They really want to have truly women owned and operated businesses as under that umbrella. So they do go through that vetting process. So with the financial information, and I know this may sound like a no-brainer to a lot of us, but I know a lot of people too that do more consulting work don't separate their business finances from their personal finances. And you are going to be really sad if that's the case for you, because I will tell you this, QuickBooks and running the reports that they require, because you do have to go through several years of data and financials that you need to present in your submittal. So to have QuickBooks on hand and to be able to really quickly run reports, and there's no reports here that are, you know, crazy. I mean, you're talking about your P&L, your balance sheet, and that's basically it. But you do have to have, I think, 3 years worth of data to present. To have QuickBooks in that situation and to kind of know how to use it and I learned a lot that couple of days too, was really key. If you don't do your own bookkeeping, then you will need to get your accountant to help you with running those reports, because you do need that P&L and the balance sheet. And I think
Hey, Wendy,
yeah.
a quick question. So it was mentioned that you can sign up for this if you've been in business for at least a year. Do you have any idea if it's only been a year or two? Are they just expecting that much? What if you don't have 3 full years?
We had 3 full years, so I'm not exactly sure. And you can actually probably touch base. I do personally know a couple of folks that are with WeBank, and I can share that with Jill, and I'm sure they'd be happy to answer any questions. They are really an advocacy group. They've got your back. Once you're in the fold, they got your back. So if you are eligible after 1 year and you only have 1 year, I would say go for it and see what happens. Again, what they're really trying to do is determine that you are in fact a business and that it is owned and operated by a woman. So I would say, don't let that stop you. It's always better to beg for forgiveness than to ask for permission, maybe. I don't know. So, but yeah, that it didn't apply to us, so I'm not really sure how that works.
Wendy,
Thanks.
so I was gonna say, if it depends on the state too, so I'm not sure how Kentucky would do it, but in Ohio, if there's something that doesn't apply to you, they have you write a letter. And then so you would just say, I've only been in business 1 year, and so I don't have the last 2 previous. And so you would just write a letter for each, or they may ask you for your personal taxes just to validate your personal taxes the 2 years before, depending. But someone at the MBAC, if you're in Cincinnati, would tell you exactly what you would do so that you could get around that. As long as you're in business for a year, that's the most important thing that I know of.
Yeah. And really the biggest thing too is there are a lot of folks that are in the organization that I'm sure would be more than happy to walk people through and dialogue with you directly. There is an interview process. Of course, we did ours in 2020, so I guess we're a little bit, we had to do ours over Zoom. They do want to see your place of residence, or where your business is located. So at the time, Sarah and I were working in her sunroom. And that's fine. So we were just, we had a room in her home. that's where we were working from, and they were fine with that. So, and again, I think it's not, oh, you have to fit this certain mold. It's really about just, just demonstrating that you are, a viable business. I will also say, and there's a lot of information. I won't go through the entire list because you can go on the WBEC website and get the list. And I can put that, I'll type that in the chat, and that's where we went. But also know that there are renewals every year. So what you want to do is be very organized as you're gathering up this information and place it as such, because a lot of this stuff you're just going to regurgitate year from year from year. They are going to require more the current P&L and balance sheets when you resubmit. But a lot of the things that you're pulling, keep them in a place that's handy. The other advantage to that, and we are actually now pursuing our EDGE certification here in Ohio. So a lot of that stuff that we pulled for the WBE also will apply for this. So once you get through that initial step of kind of getting everything in one place, it makes it much easier to go after those other certifications. And just a heads up with the work that they're going to be doing in Cincinnati on the Brent Spence, the convention center, the Western Hills Viaduct. If you provide services that ODOT can use, they are begging for DBEs, and those are million and billion-dollar projects. So I would say, once you get this, it's pretty easy to get the other things as well, because you've already pulled a lot of that information. We aren't really a DBE kind of, and we're not really a road, kind of service type of provider as an architect, believe it or not. But just know that a lot of that is also going to spur a lot of development in that region. So it's going to be really helpful to have certification, especially if you can partner with, for us as a service provider, we're looking, and as a small firm, we would be looking to maybe partner up with somebody who is putting in RFPs or RFQs, because we can help them bump up their point level. So know that you can start to create some partnerships with these types of certification. And that's really how we want to break into a lot of areas that, we don't typically have access to because of our size. So, and then the other thing too that I would really recommend, and we didn't do this initially, again, 2020, but WBEC also offers a lot of they have a fall or a spring conference, I think. So they've got regional, national conferences, and they actually get you in front of DE&I managers for some pretty heavy hitters. So if you're involved with healthcare, if you're involved with obviously government work, but it doesn't have to be government work, banks, Toyota. I mean, they're bringing these types of DE&I managers and procurement folks, because those types of industries are also really looking for, they've got quotas as well. I used to work for Luxottica Retail. They had quotas. I don't know if they filled them or not, but having that WBE certification, if you're working for corporations, it does mean something. We do a little bit of work with Finish Line, Pearl Vision. So, they're always happy to see those certificates when you give them every year, because then they know, they've got some quotas to meet as well. So it works if you work it. And take advantage of the programs that they have, because like I said, once you're in the fold, they advocate for you pretty heavily if you show up.
Wendy, that was not one of the things that I had shared the links. It's WBEC. Can you?
Yeah, I can type it in here. Hold on. So it's WBECORV.org.
Oh, okay. I do have that on there. I have that one.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
And I know Rhea Walton, she used to be in charge of that. And there's a few other folks that I can probably link you up with if anybody wants to talk through. They are really wonderful people. And I got to tell you, they put on a great conference. A lot of fun, and it's really cool to go. I mean, I'm in an industry that's predominantly male, but it's really cool to go to a conference that's all women. Like, there's like 3 guys and and they're like, oh, it's so weird. I'm the only guy here. And I was like, God, that's been my life, my whole career. So, so yeah, it's a great way to network B2B, which if you're looking for that as well, it's a really great, organization for that as well.
Thank you. We had a question if whether there's something in Kentucky, but does the ORV, that's only Ohio?
No, it's actually regional. So yeah, it's called Ohio River Valley, but I think they are Northern Kentucky. I think it even goes up into Pittsburgh. So it's just the region of Weebeck. Yeah, so Northern Kentucky, you're good.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Plus Denise put in a listing that like somebody has a whole list of them too. So that's great.
Yeah. And the other thing too, I think WBE designation now is recognized by the state. So that is also a plus. We're still going to do our EDGE certification, which is also a state certificate. But
what does the EDGE stand for?
I'm sorry, EDGE?
What is the EDGE? Yeah.
So it's really more for government work. And again, we're trying to get into partnerships with larger firms that we can bring that to the table.
Yeah.
So we dipped our toe in with Weebeck because we felt like it was a better fit for the type of business that we do. And I think it was. I really do. Like I said, they do get in front of some heavy hitters. But pretty much everybody that we've given that certificate to has been, especially our commercial clients. It does go a long way for sure. So
if I can, it stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I know that my former employer years ago, Premier, they used that as part of their metrics. So they have to use a certain percentage of contracts that are under that certification. And you're right, it is mostly with like commercial clients.
Yeah. I'm EDGE certified, and it's also you can be EDGE certified if you provide like community services, if you give back. Business owners who have disabilities and are working through those disabilities can also become EDGE certified. Social entrepreneurship type of businesses are really good for EDGE certification as well. And you can, in Ohio, you can go through the process to become certified on all 3 levels through one application. So it's one application for all 3 certifications.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to put a link in about that I just found for that. So that's great. Thank you. That's really helpful, Wendy. Does anybody have any questions for Wendy? Additional questions about managing the process and
just got to get through it.
Is there a Cincinnati, like a city of Cincinnati certification, or do they accept the WBE?
Yes. There's both.
Yeah.
There's a state and a city certification. Sorry, I wasn't sure.
Oh, no. Yeah, you go ahead. You probably know more about it. Yeah, I know enough to be dangerous. So you go.
Sorry. Yeah, there's a certification, and the city also provides a designation for a disadvantaged business enterprise. And you can be certified through the city as well as through the state of Ohio, or on a national or the federal level, which we didn't even talk about the 8A certification as well too.
Is that federal?
Yes, that's federal. And that could, where you can get funded for up to 9 years for that one. So that's a really big deal. I would say definitely that's kind of the next goal, is if you get certified through your state, is look into the 8A certification.
Great. Thank you.
Hey, Jill, I have a question. All these links are going towards Ohio. I'm a Kentucky business.
Right. So as Wendy said, this one here, the WBE This one
Yes.
I'm gonna put in right there. That's regional.
Okay.
What about that one?
WBE.
Shoot, hang on.
Here it is. I've got it. I've got it. WBE CORV.
Yes, that's
Okay.
regional. Yep.
Okay.
And that's the one that Wendy said she got, and that's a great place to start.
Okay. And then the other question I have, Wendy was talking about, I know she's an architect and all these other certificate. I'm a CPG product company.
As
Okay.
is Courtney. So she's going to talk about that too, I think. But go ahead.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, then maybe she'll answer the question then. I was curious if this is leaning towards service-based businesses or product-based CPG businesses. That's my question.
Yes, they can help you with labeling, bottling.
I've got all that. I just
Yeah.
want to know if I'm eligible for this, if I'm not an architect or an engineer.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
cool.
Anybody, any kind of
Yeah.
business,
Yeah.
like fitness coaches, like anything, like, yeah.
Daycare.
Products. Yeah. Like anything that somebody might conceivably use in,
Awesome. I just wanted to,
really.
I didn't go through all of this and they're like, oh yeah, you're not an engineer, so it doesn't matter. Okay, thanks.
Definitely. Great. Okay, Courtney, we'd love to hear from you and to talk about, you're going through the journey. Talk a little bit about what you do with your business too, please.
Yeah, I was going to say I'll be speaking from someone who's going through the process. So I'm not like an expert or anything, but and so honestly, I've learned a couple things being just on this call right now. To be honest, I made a couple notes. And so my business is Tasty Love Baby Food. I provide babies a healthier alternative to infant and toddler food in the Dayton area. And so I provide services to local child care centers. I have an online store. I do a little bit of retail and and I'm at farmers markets. And so the biggest opportunity that I have had with regard to this type of certification has been with the hospital system. I believe that getting this certification will allow me to get into more contracts in that area. But I did make a couple notes because one thing that in getting started with this process, I actually started this process maybe, I want to say 2 or 3 years ago. And I went through the former owner of this process in Dayton, which was, I believe at the time, the Dayton Urban League, who has gone under a different form of leadership since I got started. And it was such it was a jumbled process, which is what caused me to stop going through the process in the first place. It was very confusing and discouraging to sorry, my neighbor's knocking on the door. It was very discouraging to go through the process because it was so confusing. And now within the past year, the new owner is with the Dayton Chamber of Commerce. And what I really like about the new way that they are doing it is that they send out a whole checklist of items that you will need before they will even look at your application. They have a different team that will look at it. And so I've had a bit of a different experience than what was talked about earlier. And I'm looking at the checklist now, and it is very easy. You know, they have it separated for documents required by all businesses, documents additionally needed for EDGE certification, and then corporations and limited liability companies, et cetera, et cetera. And so it really helps to know what documents are needed. I will tell you that I have had a few questions along the way. More specifically, in the checklist, it talks about the balance sheet, and what was that? There was something that all comes on your tax. Like if you do taxes, it all comes in the report that you receive back. And so I had a question about that, if I should, because they're really specific, that you should submit each document separately, or they will not show that you actually submitted it. So that was one thing. Really, the biggest thing that's causing the most headache is just really submitting you know, as a small business owner, you have all these things, you wear all of these hats. And so submitting things like the balance sheet and so the cash flow statement there's a cash flow statement, I believe, comes with your tax return form or your tax report that you receive. At least it comes with mine with the accountant that I have. But just getting all of the paperwork in order is very time consuming. See, like I said, I have a couple notes. It is a very good suggestion to start early. I will say that because getting everything together at one time it is a headache. And the other thing is my business, the baby food business, is the only one like it in Ohio. And so it would be even more beneficial for me to have these certifications because it would help me stand apart, you know, either from those who come behind me or even the larger corporations like the Gerbers and the Beach Nuts. I did want to comment on something you said, Wendy, because in Dayton, at least the last presentation that I went to with the Dayton Chamber, there's a state certification and there's a local certification. And so, and there's a different application for each. And so, depending on which one you fill out, like if you do, it's best obviously to do the state certification because there are a number of grants and loans that you can have access to more broadly than what you can receive local. I don't know if someone can answer this question. I don't know what the difference is or why you would want to get a local certification or if that's even offered there in the Cincinnati area, but that is something that we were told that you could either get, it might be easier to get a local certification and start there, but those were the two that were offered in our area. Did you want to, Cindy, is that your name?
Wendy or Denise, yeah, either one.
Denise, yes. Denise,
Okay,
could you speak to that?
Yes, I was gonna say, there are some benefits to getting the local or the city certification. There are certain programs that the city has, like the Hamilton County has the BOLD initiative, where if you are registered as a city vendor, you can get direct access to requests for proposals for contracts for the city. You also have a set aside if you're on their list of certified businesses where you can have access. I believe it's up to 10%. It may be up to 15%, but I know it's at least 10%, a little bit higher than someone who is not certified. So if you're competing against people who are not on the certification list, you have a better chance of getting that contract. And they also have different grants that they offer throughout the year that you would hear about it first through those programs because of being a certified business. Also, last year when Intel was looking for businesses, I know the Minority Business Assistance Center in the city of Cincinnati gave, it was Toyota, Honda, Intel, and a few other major companies that were coming into the state of Ohio, gave them a list of all of their state and city certified businesses. So that's another reason to get certified through the state, or the city. It doesn't cost anything. It is a little bit of an easier process than the state. It takes a little bit less paperwork, but a lot of the same information. So if you go through the state, you might as well go through the city too, is what I say.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yep, that's exactly what I thought. Why just get it all at once?
Exactly.
If you're going to do it, go ahead and do it.
So
Yeah,
Denise, I just had a
go
question for Denise too, to follow up on that. So, and to kind of speak to MK's concern. So if you can you be a Kentucky-based business and get certified in Ohio?
Yes, you can, as long as you're providing business to Ohio. So if you're just registered in Kentucky, but you provide business services in Ohio. So it would be part of the program. I think there are certain programs through the city that you have to have an address in Ohio. So in that case, you might want to look at like a satellite office or a virtual office. That's one way that you could still have your main business in Kentucky, but have maybe a virtual location, and you would have access to even more funding opportunities.
Great, thank you.
Welcome.
Does that answer your question,
Can I ask-
MK?
And quick question kind of to follow on that. So, we're an e-commerce business. We have a product. It's not necessarily something that we're going to be doing government contracts with because it's like a kegerator built into a cooler. But
Party Central,
but
basically.
That could be good for company picnics or events or team outings.
oh, true. So
Yeah.
okay.
So
Okay.
you could definitely market that to, or other businesses that work for the government that might need that product in their events or things that they're doing.
So how does this work then? Because obviously as an e-commerce business, we've got our, we're like registered in Kentucky, but we're going to be selling products all over the US. How does that work?
You would be considered like you're exporting your product. So I work with a couple different businesses. They provide like virtual assistant services for me, but they're in like Kentucky, Florida, North Carolina, and they're registered with their local, whatever that state is that they have, but then we do business together. So it's just in like online business. So that just happens to be wherever your business is located, but you can do business anywhere. And if you are doing business in other areas, then if you're sending a lot of products to Georgia, there's opportunities. There's actually, if you go to the state of Ohio website, they have a few different things where they're trying to encourage exporting between businesses. So I definitely would love to talk with you, kind of come up with some ideas, but there's definitely a few different things that you could do, especially Department of Agriculture. They have a lot of things where they're trying to encourage people to do business together as well. So there's probably some different or workshops like the ACE provider program. There might be some schools or day camps that need the cooler keg that you could, where you're just providing the shipping. So you would be a service provider for Ohio businesses. Even though the product is not coming from Ohio, you're still providing that service or that product to people in Ohio. So that's how you would still technically be able to qualify for certain programs.
Awesome. Thank you so
Great
much.
information.
You're welcome.
Sonia was asking, what is the fee to apply and to renew?
It is free if you're going through the state certification. I believe the WBE Bank, they may have a fee for the national certification because that entitles you to other services and other grant matching programs that they do. However, if you're going through the Small Business Development Center, ECDI, Minority Business Assistance Center, it's free. So, and having access to their coaches, Aviatra, you can get a free.
Well, we're not a
coach.
we'll connect you to Denise. That's what
You'll
that's our
connect
role
you to
is. We'll connect you
somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. They'll connect you to someone who will be able to help you free, that is paid through a grant or through the state that specializes just in helping people become approved and certified for that, whatever that certification is that you're doing.
That's great. Another question came up. Are there any certifications for disability owned businesses? And there's that DBE, but when I was looking at the eligibility, it doesn't specifically call out disabilities. So I just wanted to know if either you or Wendy have a thought about that.
There is a disability form, at least through the state of Ohio, there's a form, and DBE, if you have a disability, a qualifying disability, there's an affidavit form that they would have you sign and get notarized from your doctor and from you. And there is also the EDGE certification is for businesses that if someone that has a disability and they're a business owner, they would fall under the EDGE certification.
Great information. I'm going to go back to gallery view. Anybody else have questions for Courtney? I'm sorry, I kind of like, I think cut you off. Courtney, do you have other things that you wanted to add? Because I know you were referring to some notes that you had made too. Oh, you're still on mute, my dear.
No, that was all of my notes. Like I said, I'm still going through this process. So, obviously I still have some questions. But, and so I just kind of shared my experience so far. It is helpful. I know you said that there are some grants that go that you can get through the state to become someone who can coach someone who wants to fill out an application for WMBE or MBE. And that is really helpful because along the way, I've had a few questions where I've been able to reach directly out to someone at the Dayton Chamber of Commerce and that can get an answer quickly. And that's not been my experience in the past when I first started trying to go through this process. Again, I can't emphasize enough what Wendy said as she completed her process, that it's just a lot of paperwork. And while I have all of that paperwork, you can get hung up sometimes in the details of the paperwork that is needed because they won't, at least in Dayton, they won't even look at your application if you don't have all of your ducks in a row. So,
Okay.
I would say too, you kind of get to the point where you're like, I don't know, I'm just gonna go for it. Like, try not to necessarily get too lost in the details. Try not to overthink it. And kind of take it with that lens of that, that you're just trying to prove that you are legitimate as a women-owned business. And I think if you do that, I'm sure we didn't do it perfectly, but I think we did it just good enough to,
That's what we're shooting for.
Right. Yeah. Like, I know as women, we tend to get a little, we overthink sometimes, or, think that we have to be perfect. And there is a point where you're just like, you know what? I don't know. I think this will work. Let's do it. And it worked for us. So, and we're certainly not, geniuses when it comes to this kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Thank you.
I've got another.
Yeah, go ahead, Racine.
Oh, I was just curious, once you have all the paperwork, are you pretty much approved, or are there people who are denied or declined? And if so, how do you handle that?
So, I assume that there are some people that are not approved. In fact, we had somebody that went through our AVHR cohort. It was 2 women that were 50-50 owners, and they were giving them a hard time because they wanted somebody who was 51% owner that was a woman. And my business partner and I are both 50-50 partners. So we were a little concerned. That never came up when we were going through the process.
I can say, Wendy, I don't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead. There is an interview process, and like a visit that is part of the process. So it does take a bit of time once you go through. But like I said, we had every bit. I mean, we just basically went with a highlighter to make sure that we got every piece of paper that we needed to, and that seemed to do it. So I think as long as you can answer the questions that they're looking for, I don't think you'll run into any issues other than that one little thing that a colleague of ours, had some issues with. They did end up getting WBE certified. They were able to kind of skirt around that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that you would be denied, or at least I've never heard of anyone being denied. What we were told is, if you submit your paperwork to the application committee and you're missing something or they need more information, there is a possibility that you could be pushed to the bottom of the list again. So just make sure you submit everything correctly the first time so that it doesn't hold you up in the process.
Good. So there's another question from Emily. If my business, and this is probably for you, Denise, if my business hasn't been operational for a year yet, what can I do prior to the 1 year to prepare? Are there any benefits prior to being, a year in business?
Yes, actually, that's a great question. And I'm glad that we're covering that. There are a few things you can do. One, there is actually a microloan that you could apply for without being certified. They encourage you, they prefer that you are certified when you apply for it, but it is not a requirement. It's $45,000 at 0% interest. You do not have to be certified. They just prefer that you do, but you can also petition and try to apply for that.
Who is that through?
That's through this Department of Development. So it would be through the state of Ohio. I have to double check what it's called in Kentucky, or the Kentucky One Stop. If you go through the State Department of Development, and they have a link for that directly on their website, so you can apply for it and start the process. And they have all the links of all the templates, everything that you need. It tells you exactly what you need and how they want it to look when you apply for the process. So what you can do your first year is, one, know that your goal is that you're going to keep your business and find your personal separated. Make sure that you start working with a business coach. If you need help with your finances, you can go to Cincinnati Works for a free CPA. They will help you with your business and your personal taxes and your projections. The Minority Business Assistance Center also has risk and financial services that helps with creating your projections. So if you need help planning, what are your next 3 years sales going to look like? That's one of the things that you can do in that first year, is you can make sure that by the end of that first year, you have your 3 years projections ready to go. And what makes it easier is by starting from the beginning, keeping everything separate, starting to establish business credit. If you don't have an EIN, get a free EIN from irs.gov. Don't pay LegalZoom or anyone to get it to you, and it takes 2 weeks. It takes 5 minutes if you do it yourself. That's something you can do immediately. Start establishing business credit. I have a list of different affiliates that will let you use your business credit, your EIN number, to establish business credit for like office supplies, Shirtsy. If you pay like $99, they give you a $2,000 line of credit for 90 days. And so different things like that you can do in your first year in business, where you
Can you share
can,
that with us, Denise?
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
I'll send it out as a part of the follow-up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Really
Yes, you're
valuable.
welcome. Thank you. Yes, it's a list of there's 42 different types of companies on there. You can create a link of your own, and then so if you like the program and you want to share it with another business owner yourself, they actually give you different discounts or incentives for sharing it.
Wow.
So it's a win-win. So if you like it, you establish business credit, you get 10% for setting up a business account with them. So a lot of them will let you do it free. So those are the different things that you can do in your first year, just being prepared so that by the end of that first year, you have all your paperwork ready. Maybe start establishing strategic partnerships. They're going to ask for your 3 largest contracts. So if you haven't established 3 large contracts in that first year, going to events like this or networking, that's one of the things that I try to do, is help people in our networking group, is match people with opportunities for strategic partnerships. And so those are things that you could do, is just establishing people that you're going to be doing business with on a regular basis, so that you have your 3 largest contracts, and they will approve it even if you haven't started doing the work for that company. So think your contract can be something that you're contracted to start work in 6 months or in 3 months when you're fully funded and you're fully operational. So don't think that you have to be limited just because you can't start the work on those things now. You can start planning and setting up this business plan immediately. And by the time your first year is done, you'll have business credit established. They have funding that it does not require your business or personal credit to be established, but your business plan. They approve it based on that. However, if you have good personal and business credit behind that, it makes the approval process for other funding down the road that much easier. So I would say your first year, take good care of establishing business credit, separating your personal. If you have a cell phone and you're doing most of your business on your cell phone, establish a business account, get an EIN number, and turn your cell phone number over to that business, or to that under that EIN. So it's not reporting on your personal credit. Now it's reporting to your business. Little things like that you can do that don't cost you anything, that are quick and easy, that you can spend a lot of time your first year doing. But if you do spend that time during the first year, it'll be so much easier by the time you start the application once your first year hits. And if you've been a sole proprietor, if you didn't have an LLC for a year, you can still go through the process. You just have to explain to them, I've been in business for 2 years, but I wasn't fully operational. And you would just explain that to them, let them know that's why you didn't establish an LLC right away, or that's
So
why
do you need to have an LLC to get certified?
No, you do not.
Oh,
You
okay.
do not. No, you do not have to have one. You can be a sole proprietor, but just a lot of people think, oh, I don't have business taxes because I wasn't separating my business or anything in
But
the beginning.
you still can file a
Schedule C.
business.
Yeah.
So, thanks.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what I was talking
Yes.
about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Great
Denise, you
questions.
are a gem, a jewel. I'm
I know.
telling you, my goodness.
you.
I'm a copy of that check. No, I'm telling you, I really appreciate. I'm so excited that I am here.
Well,
Thank
thank you
you.
for
We're happy
being
to have
here.
you here too.
Woo, so much I didn't know I need. I
Mm.
mean, it's some fantastic. Oh, Lord Jesus.
So we're going to
Anywho,
pull a lot of this together, but Denise, I shared your email in the chat, and we'll send out the replay that has people's email too, but we're also going to pull together a lot of these links in a blog post that'll be available after that, but I'll send this out as soon as we can.
oh, and
Thank
Wendy
you.
and Courtney and everybody else, they're good too. But that Denise, oh, she just blowing this up.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It makes me excited to be able to share this information. I learned it the hard way. And so I'm very adamant about telling people all about it, because if I had known this, I would have been certified 3 years sooner. So,
Well, if I may say something quickly, I would have, because I've been in business. I started 2020, and it's like I was about to beat myself up because I I didn't get access to all this information, and here it is. Ugh,
How
it's
did
you don't
hear
know
about
what you don't know, right? You
That's
just don't
right.
know.
How'd you hear about this webinar, Celestine?
well, I just got my EDAC certification, so all these other information start popping up in the eBright.
Mhm.
And when I saw you guys, I was like, I've got to get on this because I don't want to be negative or anything like that. But I was connected to a center, and I mean, this information you've given me in less than an hour, I could have had way back. So that's why I'm not going to beat myself up because I know better. But it's just timing, and it wasn't my time yet. And plus, I didn't have the confidence that I have today, 3 years ago,
That's
2 years ago. So it's all in timing. It's all
Oh yeah.
great.
I mean, Wendy, you were in business already for 6 or something years before you start. Well, not 6, 4 years before you started, right? So yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, it is daunting. But like I said, I mean, 2 days of concentrated effort and we knocked it out. I would say the other thing too is if you've got any kind of what we do is we have we call it our manifesto, and we pulled it together, and it's got like our company bio on it, like a big one and a long one, and then we've got like our tagline. So it basically kind of sets up all of that like the wordy stuff. Because there is a bit of that you have to, what's your business about? Give a company bio, where's your resume, things like that. So those are the kinds of things. We keep that all in one document, and we actually use it quite a bit for grant applications too, because it's sort of kind of got that pre-written, and you got to edit it, but it's a nice document to have on hand. And then we just add to it every time we do a grant, every time we do, something, some type of marketing initiative. We kind of try to keep it all in one place. So that is helpful too. And then I think the other thing too, if you guys don't have a website, I think that also provides some legitimacy to your business too. So definitely think about like Wix or
I
we
can
use
help with
Wix.
Wix.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
easy to use.
Because I'm
I was
working on that too.
Yeah.
I was actually going to say today's the last day to sign up for the Empower by GoDaddy at ECDI on the ECDI website. Or Jill, I'll send it the link if you want to send out to everyone.
I'll
It's
try to get it
a
while we're
free
talking.
website and marketing for 2 years from GoDaddy. So if you sign up, they do it every few months, but today's the last day to register for their next cohort. And they have a self-paced program, or you go 1 hour a week online. And after, I think it's the 3rd class, you get a promo code to get your free website for 2 years. Yes.
I just put it on the chat, that link.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. Also, yeah, so that's a good one. Also, like I mentioned, I've done a lot with Wix, so I'm happy to help with Wix.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that too. Yeah, amazing information. We're gonna follow up, as I mentioned, with as much as we can, but thank you all so much for joining us. And Denise and Wendy and Courtney, thank you so much for talking, sharing your experiences and all your knowledge. So
Thank you, everyone.
so helpful. Thank you.
you.
Thank you
And
too.
reach out to me if you have any other questions or needs. Always happy
Oh,
to
I'll be
talk.
reaching out to you all, really.
Good.
I'm so excited.
Okay, we'll see you soon. Thanks.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.